doing this morning is this. We want you to act on what you're hearing. We don't want you to hear and noodle on it. I saw somebody ask for details of the lawyer. The lawyer is going to be here after the service, so you can walk up to him and have details. And if you need his phone number, I have the number. Even if you need me to take you to his office, I can do that. Somebody said, what are the steps? The person asking for steps, you need to sit with a lawyer to talk about your situation, for steps to set up your trust. Difference between estate planning and a will. I think he mentioned it. A will is one of the instruments used in estate planning. A will is just like the foundation. You know when you do Physics 101, the will is the first step. There are other tools that you can use. Let's take a question in here.
Yeah, it's just a follow-up question. Is it possible for me to go to term insurance for 30 years, then convert it to permanent?
Yeah, you definitely can. I will ask you, though, to be very careful. You need to just look at the conversion period, because there's, in those 30 years, there's typically a conversion period. The conversion period could be 10 years, could be 20 years. So you need to be cautious of that, so that you don't wait to the very end and then you cannot convert it. Okay. And something else that I would quickly want to add is, when you're making beneficiaries, as much as you can, try to have a named beneficiary rather than just an estate. Because when you say an estate, okay, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're basically putting it back out there for your creditors to have an opportunity to buy that in. Okay, so a named beneficiary means to name somebody, your spouse, your relative, and if you can, try to limit naming, in my opinion, some people have different opinion to this, people that are under the age of 18, because they will not have access to the money until they're 18 anyways. So maybe naming an adult, and that's where a trust actually comes in play.
Okay. I think this is for you, sir. It says, when a spouse dies, does the other partner inherit their debt?
Well,
please, I want us to listen to this, please.
Now, this is very, very important. That's why you have to be intentional in establishing your estate plans in such a way that the other surviving spouse will not have a lot of obligations. What I want to say here is that there are creditors that are current creditors, existing creditors you cannot avoid, no matter whatever plan you have. When we talk about estate planning, we are talking about those creditors that we do not know, unknown creditors. The unknown creditors is what we are planning, the estate planning is all about. So what you do is when you plan your estate in such a way that assets are distributed before the unknown creditors are known, then you have effective estate planning. So for that reason, if you have a lawsuit that is pending and you know about it, but it has not been filed, that you cannot avoid. When that lawsuit is filed, it does not matter whether you transfer your property through trust, through whatever. That lawsuit, the person wins, they're coming after those assets. So what you do is make sure that you transfer the assets when the unknown creditors are still unknown. So other than that, so any obligations you have before existing while you're alive, those are existing no matter how you transfer the assets.
So summary, if you have a debt that you have not paid, that you are aware of, estate planning would not save you from paying that debt. So what does that mean? As part of putting our house in order is, and I think I like what the financial planner said, check your status. Who are you owing? There was something I was reading this week. Somebody was saying up to the point that you should have a file in your house where these things are. That if something happens tomorrow, God forbid, your spouse can pick a file and say, okay, my husband is owing this, is owing that as of this date. Okay. Okay. I will. Okay, I will rephrase. My spouse is owing this. No, but the truth is this: in as much as statistically, right, women have a longer lifespan than men. Statistically, women live longer than men. In any case, now, but with that said, what I want us not to do is we should not take things like this for granted. Even the spouses, there are spouses that might be making more money than their husband. We need to document. And for those of us who came from other countries, some of us have assets where we came from. You have investments. Do your spouse, do they know about them? You have houses, you have shares in companies back from where you came from. How, if anything happens to you, how will they get access to them? I'm saying that one because I'm guilty of that. So you have assets outside of the US. How do you ensure that all those things are documented? You need to sit down and take stock like we're advised. This person asking about probate, you need to see the lawyer privately. Can we scroll up? Okay, somebody said, when a parent dies, do the children also inherit their debt or just the spouse? I think this is probably a child that is asking.
No, the children do not inherit the debts, no, unless an asset is transferred to them that has debt with it. Then they have to pay it. If a house is transferred to you, but there's still a mortgage in it, you got to pay the mortgage, or the bank come and take the whole property. But legally, you are not obligated for the debt of your parents unless the asset is transferred to you.
So everybody's on their own as far as debt is concerned, provided you are not giving an asset that has a debt component. Meaning, if your dad transfers a house to you, you still have to pay the mortgage if there's mortgage on it. I think Pastor Ifede wants to say something.
Yes, sir, my question is on the will. If you write the will and it has not been notarized and something happens, what happens?
The will
and again, the next thing is, with the will, it can use that. You see, I mean, it was a question. Somebody asked that question. You know, can you person that cares for, like what we saw here this morning? Okay, the guy's been taking care of the parents, and now the parents die. Somebody, one of the sons, now shows up for the ashes sharing.
Well, the key is this: you better have a valid will. If you have a valid will, then that's how you distribute your asset. You decide who gets what. And if that child is not taking care of you, say it's not getting a dime. But if you don't have a valid will, then you died intestate. And intestate means you die without a will. And there's a law that decides how your asset will be distributed. And that's how the asset will be distributed, based on the law. Your spouse may get, depending on the number of children you have, your spouse may get either one half or 1/3, depending on the number of children. And the other ones will be distributed on to your children equally. So if you want to distribute your asset while you're alive, then have a will on how you're going to do it. Other than that, when you die, your house is off.
Now, one thing I will say is I also know that online, these days, people try to sell that they have these wills and all those things you can do online. I don't think for the state of North Carolina that is acceptable. Now, it is one thing for you to say you are taking a step. It's another thing for you to do it properly. So if you are going to write a will, sit down with a lawyer and let them draft it and let it be properly done, so that all the effort you're putting in is not going to go to waste. Dr. Ass wants to say something. Can we give
I
him
just want to add on that. Their will that was not notarized is not valid.
Oh. Okay. Yes. So if the will is not notarized, it's not valid. Can we give Dr. Ass microphone? No, we need people online to be able to pick. So for those children that you are not taking proper care of your parents, you can hear how parents are asking questions,
Praise the Lord.
how they should share their assets.
Yeah, so this question is for Gus. I remember many years ago, I've known him for over 20 years. We have our insurance with him, my family and I, so I appreciate the work he's done. He's a great guy. And I just want you to be able to tell people that it's not just spouse and children, but who, you said it's because of love, who life insurance covers. And then the second question is, somebody said it's important to have life insurance for your children. The chances that the child will die is very slim, but it's there. So can you shed a little light on buying life insurance for the children where the parent is the beneficiary in the event of something happens?
Thank you, Dr. As far as buying insurance as a young person, it's a smart thing to do. Because when you buy insurance, or the only time an insurance company is going to insure you is when you're in good health. If your health changes, okay, you're either going to pay substandard rates and the premiums are going to be much higher, or you could be denied altogether. Oh yeah, there is a lot of denial, and I know young people. I've worked with young people who pay 200, 300% of the premium that a person of their age is paying because of health circumstances. Yes, it does happen. They rate you up to table H or something that gives you way more. So you want to buy it when you are in good health. And when is that? Now, when you can afford it. As far as insurance, buying insurance for, on children, I think it's a great idea. Not just because I sell insurance, but because if you buy, the younger you are, the cheaper the insurance is. Okay? So you may want to buy something that is a whole life, that will be there for the rest of their lives, but that will also accumulate some cash that they could access in the future for whatever they want to do with it. So, having